Hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast. Before we get into this very special episode, I just want to tell you about our sponsor. It's a film called Sir John A. and the Curse of the Anti-Quenched. It stars Spenny from Kenny vs. Spenny, John Dunsworth from Trailer Park Boys. You may know him as Mr. Leahy, and the Diener from Fubar. It also stars a bunch of other funny Canadians, and you can find it on iTunes, Amazon, or wherever you get your films. Also, just want to mention that this very special indie-inspired podcast. If there's any other indie filmmakers out there that want to connect, come on the podcast, talk about their indie films. We'd obviously love to have you, so reach out to us on Twitter or on Instagram.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
Welcome to the Raiders of the Lost Commentary podcast,
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
the unofficial commentary for your favorite
Get to the chopper!
and not so favorite films.
The famous comedian Arnold Braunschweiger.
Starring your hosts, Adam and Matt.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Start your movie in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast. So we got a special podcast actually today. On the podcast, I have filmmaker Kelly Parks, and we're going to watch his indie film, Demon Protocol. Kelly, how are we?
We are doing well.
So, Kelly, tell me a little bit about yourself, a little bit about this project and how it all got started.
Okay, well, I've been a filmmaker and a screenwriter for about 10 years, trying to work my way into the industry. I've written 10 screenplays. I won several awards. Won the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival Screenplay Competition 1 year. I've made it to the semifinals of the Nickel Fellowship, which is the most prestigious screenplay contest there is. And that was with a horror movie, which is really rare.
Very cool.
And I've made 4 short films before this. One comedy, one zombie movie, one really dark comedy, and one just plain comedy.
Right.
Sci-fi horror is where I really live, but I comedy's fun too.
You just dabble in it kind of thing. Just
Yeah.
get your feet wet in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Comedy's
And
tough, Because, like, I feel like more comfortable in comedy personally, but, like, it's tough to know what people are going to, like, laugh at and what, like, different crowds will find funny and whatnot, you know?
Yeah. Well, I got a pretty good response from my last one from the short film. It's called The Complaint.
Okay.
And it's about people complaining to HR because one of their coworkers is a Jedi.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's just like a 3.5 minute short, and it's gotten a really nice response, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, that's good, man. What's your experience been with festivals and, like, entering in festivals and all that?
I've had some good luck. My zombie movie, it's called Universal Dead. It's also on Amazon, and you can find it on YouTube as well. That was kind of a big deal because we got some name actors for that, including Doug Jones.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Doug Jones, he was the fish creature in The Shape of Water. He was Abe Sapien, the fish guy in the Hellboy movies.
Right, which is it's sort of like, it seems like it's like the sequel. See, almost like the same guy.
Yeah. He was also Pan in Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
And was the pale man, the guy with no eyeballs who chases the girl.
It's one of those guys. He's always in suits, eh?
Yeah, exactly. He does a great talk every once in a while to like acting classes and stuff where he tells a story about how he got a reputation amongst makeup artists as the guy who doesn't complain.
Oh, really?
Most people are, when they have to sit in a makeup chair for 4 or 5 hours just to get in the costume, it's not a pleasant experience, and people get a little testy.
Yeah, no doubt.
But Dougie is just the most amazing, wonderful, loving man you'll ever meet. People on set were arguing, no, he loves me more. No, he loves me more. Just the nicest guy in showbiz. He really is. And so he got this reputation amongst the makeup people. And so whenever a director would say, who can we get for this? They were like, oh, get Doug Jones.
And then that's how he became, like, I don't know, just like always in those scenarios.
Yeah.
He's got, like, if you look at his body, he's got that lanky, weird look. It kind of works well for it, eh?
He does, yeah. He was a mime at one point, and so yeah, he's really good with the whole movement thing, and yeah, he's just awesome. But he was very happy for the short that I made because he didn't have to be in costume. He played my scientist guy, so he just had a lab coat and no makeup at all, just a regular guy.
That's cool. How'd you go about getting him in the short?
He came to San Diego to our local filmmakers group to give the very talk I was just describing.
Oh, okay.
And I've got kind of a trick. I found a secret to getting a conversation going with a celebrity. Is don't compliment the obvious thing. Compliment like something, some obscure thing they did that they never get asked about.
Right. That's
a
good move.
Yeah. I knew this little independent horror feature that he had been in. So as soon as he came in, I said, "Oh, hey, you're this guy from this movie." And he was really surprised that I knew, and we got to talking. And I told him about the movie I wanted to do, and he said, "Send me a script." So I sent it to him, and he liked it, and he did it.
That's very cool. And like obviously it's kind of tough, like getting anyone sort of famous into films. I don't know. I've dealt with that like a few times as well, like, and pitching people and having meetings upon meetings. But that's awesome. You got him in. You didn't want to come back for the feature?
Oh, I would have loved to have had him in it, but he's a much busier guy now than he was then.
That's true. So back onto the movie we're actually watching. So you want to take me through? Did you do any research on this? Do you want to tell me about like pre-production or?
Sure. The only reason this movie happened was because I got laid off from my job.
Okay. Anyway, you told me earlier off air, but you work as a computer programmer, you said?
Yeah, I had a job as a computer programmer at this one company. I have a different one now, but at the time I got laid off along with a bunch of other people. And because of that, I was able to pull all the money out of my 401k without any penalties.
Oh.
So I've been thinking about doing this for some time, and I thought, okay, this is an opportunity right here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I pulled out all the money. So I paid for this mostly myself. I did have one other investor who helped out with some things. And I wrote it to be as low budget as possible. So this house that you see right there, I wrote it to be entirely inside that house. There's like one or two shots outside, but almost everything is inside.
The Robert Rodriguez technique.
Yeah, exactly. So I planned it from the beginning to be low budget.
That's good.
I used a kind of a mix of San Diego people and some LA people. Like girl you see right there, her name is, the two girls. There's Bethany Reagan. She's the shorter one. She's an LA actress, and I'm very happy with her performance. She did a great job. And I found her I went to like various audition sites, and it's like one of those things it's hard to describe, but you know it when you see it.
Yeah, they either got it or they don't, eh?
Yeah. And I looked at a bunch of tapes of a bunch of people, and I was like, nah, not really. And then I saw her, and she really knew what she was doing. So I called her up and hired her over the phone. And,
really? So you had no traditional like casting session of, put up a casting call, have a lot of people come in and read for parts, or? No,
there was not much point in doing that here. San Diego has some great local actors, but I know most of them already.
Right.
So yeah. And now this one, the ghost right there.
Okay.
Her name is Lexi. She plays in the credits. You'll see her listed as Camilla, because Camilla is the girl who lived in this house before and who died here.
Spoiler alert.
That happens. You find that out in like the first 2 minutes.
Oh, sorry, I haven't been listening. I've been listening to you talk.
Yeah, don't worry. And this lady right here, this is Sarah Agor. She's been in tons of movies. She's an LA actress. She was in a reality series called Scream Queens.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that. I haven't watched it. My sister loves it.
Well, no, not the one that's out right now. That's a different thing.
Oh, sorry.
This was like 2008, 2009, I think it was.
The original.
Yeah, it was a reality show. It was like these 10, pretty girls all living in a house, and they have to do acting challenges, and one gets eliminated each week until finally you're left with the one who wins and got to be in Saw 6, I think it was, the 6th Saw movie.
I can't believe they made 6 of those.
Well, Lionsgate, was about to go under when they made the first one, and it totally saved their company.
Right.
So and they were so disdainful of it back in the day, like before. Well, I guess we can make a horror movie because they were all like drama nerds.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they made a horror movie, and it saved them from going under, and so they made a bunch more.
Crazy.
But yeah. Anyway, Sarah was on that show, and it's just weird that I remember seeing that show like 10 years ago, and I remember her on it because she did a great job. And then like 10 years go by, and then I end up hiring her to be in a movie of mine. So
that's cool. That's funny how that sort of comes full circle like that. The
priest right there, that's Gary Graham. He's also an LA actor, and he's been in tons of movies. There was a movie from the 90s called Alien Nation.
Okay.
And it was made into a TV series for a few seasons, and he was the lead on that. He was he played on the TV series the James Caan role from the movie.
Okay.
That's where I first really noticed him as an actor.
So a lot of like seasoned pros you got like in the cast, like consummate professionals. How'd you deal with like directing these people? Like they've obviously worked with lots of other people. Like, did you have any challenges dealing with anyone, or is everybody pretty shows up to work?
Everybody was awesome. There's an old saying that 90% of directing is casting.
Yeah, for real.
You get the right people and you're good. And I had the right people. I was really super happy with all these people. So there's Gary right there. That's a guy named Scotch is the zealot, his assistant. And there's the machine they're going to use to try to clear this house of its hauntings. And I based that on something from Nikola Tesla.
Okay.
One of his many inventions was something called a spirit radio that supposedly could hear the dead. And the antennae that are on those the pylons there are modeled after Tesla's spirit radio.
Oh, very cool. So yeah, back to the research thing. Like, did you have to take any like weekend courses on any exorcisms or anything like that, or?
Not weekend courses, but I did. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and I did a lot of reading, and I talked to a couple of people.
Like, I had like a friend of a friend of a friend that went to become a priest. Allegedly, this is an alleged story, so I don't know if it's true. But yeah, apparently they still do like a literal weekend course on like just in case you got to do an exorcism.
Huh.
But it was the exorcism movie. Like, obviously, was that a favorite of yours? Like a long time ago, or is that?
Well, my tagline for this is it's The Thing meets The Exorcist.
Okay.
Because the idea here is that the people living in the house, they know their house is haunted. I mean, the wife does. Carolyn right there, who plays the wife. She has seen the ghost, and she believes in it, and she thinks this is all huge fun. The husband is in complete denial. He thinks this is all nonsense. It's a giant waste of time, but it makes his wife happy, and that's all he cares about. So that's why he's doing it. But what they don't realize is it's not a ghost; it's a demon. The demon is intent on possessing the wife.
Oh.
So this little event here, clear the house. Everybody's Catholic. Let me see that. This little event here is not going to go well, and as a result, somebody will end up possessed. So just like in The Thing, the idea is like who is it?
Oh, how long did you spend in production?
It was 2 weeks, and it was kind of broken a bit because Gary Graham right there, he has a pretty busy schedule too, so we had to break up shooting a bit to accommodate that. But other than that, it was pretty much 2 weeks.
Straight
yeah.
on.
Very long days.
Yeah, traditional indie film, long days.
Yeah.
So, what'd you guys shoot on?
It was a Red Dragon. So, I mean, we got like a really nice, super high def, like 4K, which mostly doesn't get used right here. But it was a very nice camera.
Nice. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to shoot with it a couple times, and I do love shooting with it. It's just can be cost prohibitive sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I find the best way to do this kind of stuff because I don't shoot often enough to justify the expense of buying all the equipment myself.
Yeah.
So instead, I find myself like a good DP, a good director of photography, who comes with all the stuff.
Okay.
You know, hire them, and they come down, and it was his camera, and he brought a grip with him, and did all the lighting and everything else. So, so that's done. You have all your equipment, you have the people who know how to use it, and you just hire them for the duration, and then that's over.
So that's kind of like the method you went about, just kind of hitting a lot of birds with one stone there for crew. Yeah, that's really smart. That's definitely smart. But so in terms of crew, I guess you just hired all out. Like it was all just you just worried about directing and have to worry about dealing with like like lighting or all that. Did the DOP kind of like plan a lot of the direction of how, not direction of the actors, but just how the lighting and how everything was going to be shot? Or
yeah, that's all Peter Lugo. It was the DP, and he did a great job.
Yeah, looks great.
So yeah, it was a pretty small crew. It was Peter, the grip that he brought. It was also like the assistant camera. There's our first visual effect right there. See the spirit radio. I had a good friend who's also my editor, and he was my first AD. Couldn't have done it without him. It's John Nuadami.
It's smart having your first AD as your editor, because they'll know, like, yeah, we can for sure cut this. We don't have to worry about shooting this, or we need this for editing.
Yes. One of the things, the lessons you learn making short films, and everybody should go through that before you try to make a feature, is when you finish shooting it, you're not even remotely done. You got a lot of work to do. And the thing you learn in the editing room is all the shots you wish you had.
Yeah. Did you guys have to do any reshoots, or did you guys have to do any reshoots?
No, fortunately, no. Yeah, we got it all.
Got it all in one go. That's lucky.
And we're gonna have a pretty special effectsy moment here in just a bit.
How did you do the visual effects? Like, did you guys have it planned out on the day, or is this something you?
Some of it was planned. Some of it was kind of on the fly afterwards. I met a guy named Raymond Montemayor. He runs an effects company here in San Diego. I met him at one of the film festivals we had here in San Diego, and because he had made a short film about his Star Wars toys coming to life, showing off effects abilities. So he did all the effects in here, and he did just a great job. I'm very happy with him.
It's gonna happen any second.
And see how everybody's kind of in a trance, and they were told like not to leave that area because that's where they were safe. But yeah, she let out.
The demon girl effects. How'd you guys do that? Is it
here, watch what's coming here any second.
Anticipating is the girl. She's upset.
Yeah, let me in. I love that line. Anyway, yeah. So, like effects like that, that's all the stuff that Raymond did. And I spent a lot of time online. There's a bunch of different sites filmmakers can go to for free or fairly low cost audio effects.
Right.
That's what you're hearing in the background there now. Oh, and I love this effect here.
Tell
David,
people.
David, you die here. But yeah, so I spent a lot of time finding ones that that felt right, that were good, horror movie sounds. And mostly they were free to download. The sites were free. People just wanted their stuff out there.
Did you spend much time in audio post, or obviously you had somebody on set doing,
Yeah, no, we had a sound guy, of course. That's so critical.
Yeah, you can't emphasize that enough, right?
Yeah. Our sound guy was Dylan Hirsch. and very very professional. Comes again just like the DP brought all his own equipment. Dylan shows up with all his own equipment, and so again, just hire him for the duration, and then you're done.
Right.
He did a great job. He was always watching out for anything that might interfere or whatnot. Like at one point, some neighbor was doing some work with a jackhammer. Like, really? Now? Why do you?
As you do in San Diego.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. It was weird. Fortunately, it didn't last very long, so we're good. But yeah, just stuff like that. You got to be so careful because bad sound ruins a movie.
Yeah, it's true. You'll forgive like a bad picture. You'll forgive a lot, but you won't forgive bad sound, as they say.
Yeah. The problem with it and anything like that is that it destroys your suspension of disbelief. It knocks you out of the story, and you're suddenly reminded, oh, you're watching a movie.
True, very true.
And that's why it does so much damage.
So you got some prop guns here. Did you guys use real guns, or did you have airsoft guns, or?
They were airsoft. They were not real.
Yeah, it's hard to get real guns up here in Canada, so it's rare to see.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a whole other show, but yeah, they're plentiful here.
Yeah.
They were just airsoft, but they worked. They had it like a CO2 cartridge.
So they had the slide action and everything.
Yeah, slide action works, and they give a nice little puff of air, so it kind of looks like a person is actually getting hit by something. Yeah,
it looks great. I've used airsoft's kind of been the thing to use for a long time now, but they look so great. They look very real, but
everybody. A lot of the actors they'd used guns before, and they were careful. Like one of the worst mistakes you see in any movie or TV show that gives away that a person who's supposed to know how to use a gun really doesn't is you'll see them like standing there holding it and their finger is on the trigger.
Fingers right, yeah. No trigger control.
Yeah, no, that's the mark of a total amateur. You'd never ever do that.
Or they're waving it around or whatever.
Your finger should be pointing straight, not touching the trigger at all.
Yeah.
Don't touch the trigger unless you're going to shoot somebody.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess did you have anybody on set that like, I don't know, I guess if people are used to using weapons, but then it's not so bad.
Actually, Gary right there, he's very knowledgeable. So he was very helpful for that.
That helps. And I suppose he's been around a lot of it on different sets and whatnot too, right?
He's been doing movies forever, since the 70s. So yeah, it's been around forever.
That's right, eh? Back on to, what were you going to say?
Oh, and he wasn't the only actor who also like added their expertise. Bethany, the brunette right there, she was my Catholic consultant.
Oh,
because she was went to Catholic school and everything, so she helped us like get crossing ourselves right and just a bunch of stuff.
Did you get all the self-hate in there too? I grew up. I went to Catholic school as a kid as well, so I feel her pain.
Yeah, a lot of great stories.
Yeah, it's something else. It's a funny world. I don't know what religion you grew up in, or if you grew up in religion at all, but being Catholic is something else.
Yeah, I've heard. I was raised a Lutheran, but it didn't really take.
Really, Lutheran? I've never met a Lutheran. It's
we exist. We're around.
So you have prosthetic, obviously, in her mouth there for some of the effects I'm seeing, and then. So you like the conscious effect?
I like here. Look, you saw her hair move from the puff from the CO2.
That helps, eh?
That little blood cloud.
Yeah, it adds a lot, eh? Just that little bit of practicality to mix in with like a CGI, well, kind of a compositing effect, right?
Yeah, there's a really nice gore effect later on. It was entirely practical, and I was pretty happy with it.
And again, you just had somebody come in with makeup and do everything up.
Yeah, well, there's a guy named John Aviles. He's our makeup guy, our special effects makeup, and then we had a lady named Francia Cohen on the set as well. She was there for like beauty makeup and hair, but she also does practical effects. So she did the I'll refer to it as the eyeball. She did the eyeball.
Oh, okay. And was there a bit of like, do you have any trouble like dealing with like continuity when you were filming in this house? Like, you know, you're filming in this house for 2 weeks. Like, I don't know if you live there or if you had it was some of your friend's house, but it's just like, okay, don't touch anything. We'll be back in a couple hours.
No, we were pretty good. I had free run of the house. It's not my house. It was a friend's house, but he was fine and told him that we're going to be spattering blood around here and there, and he's like, no, that's fine. Just do whatever you want to do. So yeah, it was a pretty easy working environment.
That works out.
Yeah.
It's always like location like that. Like you want to, I don't know, like leave it as you had it, but you're also like, okay, but we got to make something kind of cool here. So sorry, you know?
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Because there have been other cases like in the zombie movie where, and it was like a year after it came out where I noticed an issue, like a boom shadow that I had never noticed before, even though I'd watched it like a dozen times.
It's funny how you don't notice those things, eh?
Yeah. And at first I freaked out about it, but then I realized, no, nobody's going to see that.
If nobody saw that kid pointing at his crotch in Back to the Future 3, then, you know, I think you're okay.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. I mean, there'll be people who will, like, you know, post on under the goofs section in IMDb.
Right.
But most people won't care. They won't notice.
No, exactly. And if they're caring honestly that much about it, then that means people are watching your stuff quite a bit, and I suppose that's good, right?
Yes.
So once you get the movie done, like, what was your distribution route? Like, what did you all consider? Did you shop this around, or?
Well, here's the story there. I did something very different, and I'm still experimenting with it as we speak. But I looked at several other, like, you know, low budget horror movies and what they did. If you watch low budget horror on Amazon, a name you will see a lot is Gravitas Ventures.
Okay, and they're like a studio, or like just like a distribution.
But there's others like them. There's another guy who made an awesome little horror movie called Hell House LLC. He went through a group called terrorfilms.net. And there's others like them too. But really, they're just all they do.
They're just aggregation companies, or?
Yeah, they can put your movie up on all the platforms, like on Amazon and Hulu and iTunes and Google Play and everything.
Got it.
But they take, you know, then they do two things. First, they do the publicity, but they deduct that out of the money you're going to make.
Movie math.
Yeah, and they take a 25% cut.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah, so you don't get to, actually some of them more, like I think Gravitas is more like 35.
Did you look into Distributor?
Yes, and I actually am going to do something with them. But here's the thing that I'm so surprised nobody knows. Maybe I'm revealing a big secret here. I don't know. For all the people who do this, the platform that by far makes the bulk of the money is Amazon.
Really?
And yes, yeah.
It's free for you to just upload to Amazon too.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need anybody's help for that.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I mean, I'd already, as kind of an experiment, a couple of years before, I put my zombie movie up on Amazon, just so I was familiar with the procedure. But yeah, it's called Amazon Video Direct, and you upload it there, and they have some deliverables that they need, like captions, for example.
Right.
Which
standard.
That's a giant pain in the ass making the captions file.
Did you do? Was it Rev now? Have you tried that site? It's like $1 a minute or something like that.
No, I just did it myself. I mean, it's just typing, it's just text. But the thing is,
who's got that time though?
Well, but I had to do it myself because it bugs me so often if I'm watching, say, a foreign movie.
Oh yeah.
Where the caption will be kind of out of sync and it'll like blow a joke before it happens, or, you know, kind of ruin a moment because it doesn't deliver the line right when the line should have been delivered. I see that all the time. It just really bothers me. So I just said, no, I'll do it myself. I'll just do it myself.
Does our director, the Pan's Labyrinth director, he says apparently he does all the subtitle translations himself for the subtitles for foreign language.
Oh, Guillermo del Toro?
Guillermo, yeah. I never say that right. I always read it, but I don't really say it out loud very often.
Yeah.
So you decided to do Amazon exclusively.
Well, no, I'm gonna use Distributor for the other platforms like iTunes and Google Play.
Okay.
But I didn't see any reason to give anybody, a 25 or 35% cut when I can just do it myself.
Exactly, and also they can get really squirrely. Like,
Well, they did.
oh yeah, with
Here's the thing, because I did approach some little indie companies like that about distribution, but as soon as I told them, no, I don't need help with Amazon, that's already done, they immediately lost interest.
Really.
Yeah, because they know that's where the bulk of the money is.
My experience, like the one movie I made about 10 years ago, we had like a deal through a company sort of similar to that, but it was then through E1, which is like a pretty big company in Canada. They kind of redistribute a lot of US films, foreign films and all that. But yeah, there was a lot of like, we got this deal, you made $5,000, but also all the expenses were about $5,000. So it was always things like that. And time after time was that. The last film we did, though, we did another, it's a kind of a Canadian version of like a distributor. It's sort of a friend of a friend type thing. And their split was a lot better. It's like a 90-10 thing, and there's no hidden fees. There's no anything like that. It's an upfront like ingestion fee for the post house. But the deciding factor for us to do that was all the Canadian television up here. So that was kind of like we get that chance to be, and we are on like a lot of the Canadian pay-per-view and all that. So I like Distributor seems really good, like it's like they don't take anything, you just pay that one-time fee.
Yeah, Distributor strikes me as pretty awesome. I haven't actually done something with them yet, but I have talked to them.
Yeah, they're very good at like just calling you and like talking it out. I don't know if you've had any phone conversations with them, but
I have, yes.
And it's strange, it's strange, and I don't know how many of these people you've dealt with, but like there's a vibe you get from some people in that distribution world. It's like it's like that used car salesman vibe. I call them lizard people because like they don't really even like listen to you. They're just like waiting to like pitch you on the next thing,
Oh yeah, I know. You're like all excited. Hey, I made this movie and here's what it's about. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Just do it here and we'll do this and maybe we'll give you some money.
Exactly, and then they're just leeches.
Well, yeah, they really are. And one of the things I'm kind of hoping to show here, I mean, it'll take probably a year to really have, all the numbers I need to show everybody, but I think they're really obsolete.
Yeah, and in some ways, a lot of them are,
Yeah, I mean, if I wanted, like a theatrical release or something like that, well, then they would still come into play.
Yeah.
But for super, micro budget indie horror like this, I don't see why I need them for anything.
It's true, and most people, they consume a lot of their media like that on Amazon these days too.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's good. It's good to. I think it again another reason why I wanted more to connect with more indie filmmakers on the podcast like this is to talk about these things, because a lot of the times like these deals that we signed back in the day, it was like a don't talk about it type deal, and you can't really like reveal a lot of the information and like the squirrely accounting that goes on in these things. So I think it's just good. We're getting, I don't know, maybe it's just hitting the wall here, but like I think it's just good to get a lot of this information out.
Yeah, really, very much so. People want to keep secrets like that. They usually do it because they don't want word to get around what a terrible deal they're offering.
Yeah, exactly.
But as soon as you start doing this, whether as a hobby or trying to make a living at it, and you meet other filmmakers, you just hear horror story after horror story about distributors.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I only know like one person who really likes his distributor and has a good relationship with them.
Really?
So, yeah. So, most everybody else it seems like very contentious relationship that you end up having because you don't like the way you're being treated, but they convince you, that, well, it's really not worth that much. We'll get a little for it, I guess. But I mean, they kind of wear you down, I guess, after a while.
I think that's just it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I talked to you a bit about film festivals, but have you had good experiences with film festivals? And
I have. My zombie movie, Universal Dead, it won the grand prize at the LA Web Fest.
That's good.
Like, I don't know, 5 years ago, I think it was. And the grand prize was an all-expense paid trip to the Marseille Web Fest in France.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so it wasn't like just here's a plaque, you can put this up on your wall and nobody cares. It was like, no, here's tickets to France.
Right. No, that's awesome. That's like a legitimate, that justifies the $50-$60 entry fee,
Yeah, yeah.
That was the film festivals I've found, like entering in a lot of these things, like you're submitting, 20 to $100 sometimes. You don't know if you're going to get in, and then if you're in, you go through, at least I've done it, like you go through a lot of trouble promoting it, getting it out there. They sell tickets to the film festival, of which, most of the time you never see any of that money from the door.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe I'm just a little cynical.
It's easy to be in this business. But see, here's the other thing. If distributors really are obsolete, at least from the point of view of small indie budget films, then film festivals are kind of obsolete too, because a big part of the reason why you put your film through the film circuit is to get distribution.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you don't need that because you already have it, because anybody can put their stuff up on Amazon, well, then you don't really need the film festivals other than for promotion, just getting the word out about your film.
Just an added promotion. Yeah.
But a lot of film festivals won't let your film in if it's already up on Amazon.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Catch-22, eh?
It is. So there needs to be some adjustments made.
I totally agree. This
the technology, the head of the business at the moment.
Yeah, this last film we've made, we've been trying this sort of small thing. Like, it's out, people can watch it now, but we've done these small events. Like, we'll do an event in a bar, and people come to the bar, watch the movie, but there's a lot of promotion in that one area, like in that one town, that we do a lot of promotion. And maybe not everybody comes out to that event, but maybe they check it out online. That's kind of been one of the marketing ploys we've done. How did you approach marketing?
Real quick, let me just point out that what just happened there.
Yeah,
looked like a real action scene.
Yeah,
but there were no stunts. You're very careful about that.
Okay.
Because you see him running towards Gary, and then the next scene you see them like both on the floor, fighting over the gun, and then the next scene he's standing back up again. So nobody actually tackled anybody. We didn't have to have a stuntman or have a mattress for someone to fall on or anything like that at all. And that's important because your insurance goes through the roof if you have stunts.
Yeah, that's true. Or you just don't tell them and you just do it anyways.
Or that, yes, or that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just so there's a bunch of places in the movie where it looks like something stunt-y happened, but it never did. It's all just little movie magic here.
Just a little editing and
yeah.
No, that's good, and it's good.
I just want to point that out because I think that's important for filmmakers to.
No, I think so too, because you are
be careful of that.
You're trying to deal with your budget constraints and everything, but you're trying to deal with it in a creative way too.
Yes, exactly. You look for volunteers. My wonderful daughter Natalie and my son-in-law Danny, they volunteered to be craft services for the movie.
That's tough. Feeding people's tough.
Yeah, so they cooked up a big meal and brought it every day.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, my grandson Kieran was there helping out too, as PA for me.
Nice.
So yeah, it was nice having friends and family who could just help out.
I have a theory about when you release the carbs on the set. You got to wait to close to the end before you let them have the pizza and or the pasta, because they're just going to crash and you're not going to get much out of them.
That's not a bad point. That's actually.
roll out the fruit and the the meats and all that early in the day. Get the energy levels up. Keep it rolling.
Oh, that's a good point. I wish I thought of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I've also like a lot of the times I've worked with a lot of my friends, and I'm like, I know how you eat. You're just gonna eat this. You're gonna go to the bathroom. You're gonna stink up the bathroom, and then everybody's gonna have to deal with you. Going back to marketing, what's been your marketing ideas and whatnot? Like, how did you approach that? Like going into this?
Well, that's been a challenge. That's an ongoing challenge. There was a marketing company that I had heard other filmmakers talk about that I kind of had in mind from the beginning, and I did hire them at one point, and it was not cheap.
Right.
But the thing is, again, with Amazon, you can see pretty much day by day how much views you're getting, how many minutes are being watched. So
you get like real data about what's working and what's not working.
Yeah, and the thing is, so when they started, when they did their thing and they started promoting it online and whatnot, I definitely got a bump, but nowhere near what I was hoping to get. In fact, the bump I got was about the same as just from me going on to Twitter and going, into everybody who had like hashtag horror or hashtag horror fan or hashtag horror movies and tweeting to them about the movie.
And then, just doing it that way.
Yeah. And I was just like spending, maybe an hour a day doing that. And that gave me about the same size bump in viewership as these guys did for a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was disappointing. That was disappointing. Have
you messed with the Facebook ads or Instagram or anything like that?
I do. I do have there's a Facebook page for Demon Protocol and a Twitter and an Instagram. And I have mostly done Twitter ads. I find I get a better response from them.
Really?
Yeah. As opposed, I have paid for Facebook ads as well, but I feel like I get a better bump from Twitter.
Okay.
And I haven't tried Instagram yet, but that's next.
They make it sort of like pretty integrated now with like if you have your Instagram, Facebook sort of account hooked up, you can kind of blast it out on both platforms, which is kind of handy. That like they always have that saying like you have to see something in 3 different places before you
right.
It like registers as something real,
Yeah. Got to check it out.
But yeah, so you just sort of, have you had the actors helped you in promoting it at all, or is it just like you get the 1 or 2 tweets and then it's kind of radio silence until?
No, they've been very helpful. Caroline Emigway, right there, she's the demon, as you can see now. Sorry, I really like the part.
I'm just looking at her hair over her eye, and I just realized that whoever did the effects, that's a nightmare shot.
Oh yeah, yes. Ray mentioned that very specifically.
Yeah, rotoing that her hair. If he was on set, he probably would have been like, "Can her hair not be there?" I've done shots like that before, and it's like, no. Do we have something else?
There we go.
Gross.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay. Well, anyway, yes, they've been very helpful. But yeah, Caroline has a sizable web presence. She's an excellent actress. Her husband, Matt Silverstone, just directed a movie with Caroline in it, and it premiered here in San Diego and was excellent.
Very cool.
And so she mentions Demon Protocol all the time. So it's a nice little bump from her. But yeah, it's the other movie she's in is Love All You Have Left.
Okay.
Yeah. She just does a great job here. She really commits to being the demon here, just being just flat out evil.
It's fun working with people like that just commit and get into the role.
Well, I feel like, one of the biggest mistakes filmmakers make when they first start making stuff and making shorts is they figure, well, I don't need actors. I'll just hire my friends. They can do it. It's easy.
Right.
Oh, no. No, it's not. That's a terrible idea. Don't hire your friends. Your friends can't act.
Some people's friends can act. I've been lucky enough that I've grown up, been around a few friends that have got into the trade. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it really, it's almost like it's not quite as bad sound, but it's up there. Bad acting will really, again, take you right out of the story.
Very true.
I think the reason most people are bad at acting is because they feel silly doing it, so they don't commit to it.
That's true. I think that's very true.
But yeah, so get good actors, and it's really not that difficult. It really isn't. If you live in any decent sized city, there's actors around. They are. You just got to look for them. And they're generally, especially if they're pretty new, they're usually happy to work for free just to get some good stuff for their role, for their their film clips that they send around to people.
Were any of these guys SAG or?
Gary is SAG FICOR, so he can work indie or SAG as he pleases.
Okay.
And all the rest.
Work in the States? Like, so they can. Do you have to pay a penalty or anything like that, or?
Actually, the only penalty, and I could be wrong about this. It's been quite a while since I looked into this, but if you go financial core, it's called in SAG, because there was some ruling that happened against SAG many years ago. They were being basically a monopoly, not letting people work on stuff that they didn't control.
Okay.
So they created the FICOR thing. It's my understanding the only penalty for FICOR is you can't vote in the SAG Awards.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not that bad at all. We run into like the ACTRA up here is a lot more like, yeah, it's harder to get non-ACTRA and ACTRA people in a production together. Like they make you pay penalties, or like they're a little bit more like a mob run thing.
Mm-hmm. It sounds about right.
Yeah, I think it's like it started as like a legitimate and good thing, but it hasn't evolved for the times. Like it's still based on U.S. films coming to Canada to shoot and just making sure they're not being taken advantage of. But now there's a lot more productions, a lot more indie productions, a lot more web productions. They have nothing for like the internet, no like internet YouTube type section at all. So it proves a lot of a lot of problems, at least just to get anyone in it,
Yeah.
You pay a lot of penalties too. Like if you want an all actor thing, but you have one non-ACTRA actor, you pay a penalty per day that person is on set. So
yes, that seems anti-filmmaker to me.
It is. It's pretty.
No,
it's gross, but it's all just like a money making thing. And the penalty is like $200 a day. So like, you can imagine like you have 5 or 6 people, on set. If you say you wanted,
I'm sorry, there was the eyeball.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry. Yeah. You're having extra problems is just makes it so much more difficult, because this is not an easy thing to do. Making a movie, it's amazing to me, honestly, that movies get made, because
really,
so many.
Yeah, now that you've been through the process, you're like, this is fucking impossible.
It is. There's so many things that could go wrong, just derail it at any moment. And so it's really amazing that they get made at all. And so anybody who makes it more difficult is not on my side as far as I'm concerned.
What did you guys hit any walls while you were filming? Like, is there any like huge like hoops or jumps you had to kind of to make while you filmed, or?
Not really. Because we were entirely inside a private home, we didn't have to get film permits.
Okay.
We weren't out in public anymore. And really that would have been the only thing. And because where this house is it's pretty rural, it's pretty isolated. So we didn't have to worry about people, hey, what's those weird noises coming from over there? And we didn't have to worry about that. So yeah, it was actually, in that sense, it was pretty easy.
That's smart. You like make sure you like pick a scenario that you're not going to have those type of whatever problems that you normally run into on sets.
Yeah. Because I've been through that before. When we did the zombie one, we did a lot of outdoor stuff. We actually hired a helicopter at one point for a helicopter. Yeah. The movie, it opens with a helicopter shot.
Nice.
And this was, not a drone. It was an actual helicopter with an actual cameraman, hanging from a strap out the door.
Crazy.
The helicopter pilot was insane. It's a shot of we have it. We got an actual Humvee. We found this guy who had like a bunch of military equipment for rent. So we rented a Humvee from him because this was our soldiers arriving at the base. And so we wanted a helicopter shot just of the Humvee driving down this country road. And he got down like really low, like almost up, just barely up off the ground,
Jesus.
going right alongside the Humvee. And we didn't ask him to do that. He just decided to do that. So, it was pretty awesome.
That's fun.
And at one point we did have the sheriff show up because somebody had driven by and seen like a bunch of guys with guns. And so we had to show the sheriff, no, they're all airsoft here. Check it out. And I had my permits ready to, so that was nice. He just looked those over. He says, okay, you boys have a good day. And left him. So,
That's funny. That's lucky. It's fun. It's funny when that actually goes well. We were shooting something one time in Toronto, and we got pulled over for doing a U-turn. We were filming outside of a van, like just filming shots, pointing the camera outside of a van. And when they pulled us over, the DP that was with me, he's like, all right, I don't want to alarm you, but the vehicle is full of fake guns and fake police uniforms. And then he pulled us out of the van. Like, well, he was nice about it. But then we had no identification about who we were. We left it all back at the hotel. And we had no proof that the van was ours. But I don't know, he radioed in and he ended up just letting us go, which is extremely lucky, but
yeah.
it could have went south really quick.
Yeah, I mean, you can face some pretty serious penalties. I mean, they can confiscate your equipment, like say if you're operating without a permit and stuff like that.
Yeah, they run it sort of loose. Toronto's sort of like if you show up, you're not putting too much stuff on the ground. Then it's just kind of like, so long as you're not bugging anybody, kind of a move. But Ottawa, which is like capital, it's government town, they get a little more squirrely. They get upset if you're just like doing anything. So
yeah. Well, I didn't get pulled over, but I had a long drive once where I was terrified of being pulled over because sitting on the seat next to me was a prop that we just used in a trailer we had made. And it was a human heart covered in blood. And I had it in like a plastic bag. So, explain that to a cop.
It's just a prop.
It's not real. I swear. I have the receipt somewhere. I'll find the receipt.
How'd you get that prop made?
A friend of a friend knew somebody up in LA who was a professional, like monster makeup, movie prop kind of guy. And he made it for me. And It looks very. I mean, I've never actually seen a human heart like up close.
Neither have I, thankfully.
But it sure looks real to me.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I guess like being in that proximity, like San Diego's how far away from LA? 4 hours?
Oh, 2.
2. So like being in that proximity to like basically Hollywood, you have a lot of like talent pool that they may not work on Avengers, but they're working on a lot of other stuff that you can dip into that talent pool, which is, helps you a lot too.
Yeah, it does. And it's, LA actors loved coming down to San Diego. San Diego's a much nicer place than LA. And
I've never been, so.
It's a cool city. It's very relaxing. There's a lot of stuff to do here. And so, yeah, they're happy to come down here for a shoot. Because like Gary Graham right there, he was also in my zombie movie. And then through him, I met D.B. Sweeney, who's also been in just a ton of movies. And he was also in the zombie movie. And they both said that. They said, oh, yeah, if you get a chance to get out of L.A., it's awesome. I love coming down here.
Very cool. So did you have to put these people up in hotels like while filming? Like, I don't know how much you want to talk about how much you spent budget-wise, but... It
was under 100.
Okay. $100?
It was under 100K. Yeah. Back to like 75, 50. It was under 100,000.
Okay.
But yeah, that was an expense, obviously, and for the LA people, they had to be put up. They understood indie movie. I can guarantee maybe a 3-star motel, maybe 2, somewhere in there.
The classiest Hojo around.
Yes, the very best of all of them. But yeah, they were fine with it. And then a lot of the people were local, like the husband who you saw early on, the tall blonde guy. That's Matt Bradford. He's a local San Diego actor.
Okay.
He actually lives just like right up the street from where this house was.
Oh, that's convenient.
So you could just walk to work. It was pretty pleasant. Oh, here, check this out.
Consider putting them up in Airbnbs or anything like that. Just like I've often thought about that, like, because like hotels are like a couple $100 a day, whereas a lot of times you can find an Airbnb for like a whole week where maybe you can put 2 to 3 people if they're comfortable with it in a big house, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know. I think I just recently heard some really bad story about something that happened to somebody through Airbnb. So I was just kind of turned off to the whole idea.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was. I need to point out something. This is deeply, deeply geek.
Okay.
Remember the original series, Star Trek, the original series from the 1960s?
With Shatner?
Yeah.
I didn't watch all of it, but I am aware of it. Yes.
Okay. And did you see the episode with the Tribbles?
I did not. But
Okay,
I'm sure maybe a few listeners have.
There's a famous episode called The Trouble with Tribbles. And it was written by science fiction writer David Gerrold.
Okay.
And that's who was sitting in the car right there. That's David Gerrold.
Oh, very cool, man.
Yeah. He's also well known for there's a series of novels called The War Against the Couture. And
Okay.
he's been a sci-fi writer forever. And
Is he like a friend of yours, or?
yeah. We got to be friends over Facebook and ended up arguing a lot, which I kind of enjoy. And so does he. And this is what I mentioned I was making the movie, and he asked me if he could be in it. And I said, sure. And I wrote this part for him. And the name of his character is James McCarthy, which was the name of the main character from his novels, The War Against the Couture.
Oh, okay. That must have been interesting picking his brain about writing television for.
It was awesome. It was awesome. He wrote that Star Trek episode, and he was a writer on Next Generation. And he told me a ton of great stories. It was awesome hanging out with him.
That's awesome. Just a wealth of knowledge too of writing, just like of having to write on a show like that. Just like getting the job done of writing so much.
Yeah.
So we're coming up close to the end here, I think.
Yeah, we're pretty close, and we're coming up on one of the other things that is worth spending some money on, which we'll get to here in just a sec. So they leave, and the song begins.
Okay, I can't. I turned off the sound. I wanted to make sure I heard.
There's a song right here. It's "Marked Man" by Mieka Polly.
Okay.
And it's an excellent kind of Southern Gothic, song about evil, and so it fits perfectly.
So did you spend did you have to buy the rights to the song, or?
Yeah. I if you look in the credits here, you'll see I have a music supervisor, a guy named Sean Fernald. He's an LA music supervisor. It's what he does for a living, but he's a friend of mine, so he helped me out with this. And he wrote up the contract and everything so that I had the rights to the song for the movie.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Didn't get.
Awesome.
I'm sorry.
And Mieka Polly, who wrote the song, who's singing right here, she's amazing. She was very, very into the idea. She really liked having her song be in a horror movie.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it worked out well.
Very cool. So I just wanted to make sure we get in plugs of where people can check this out, where they can check you out on Facebook or the internet, and yeah.
Demon Protocol is all you need to look for, because that'll take. Well, actually, I take that back, because I've been checking Google every day for stuff, and we've already been pirated by a couple of Chinese sites.
Oh, good.
So be careful what you click on.
Right.
If you just there's nothing you can do. I mean, that happens. So
yeah.
But when you watch it, it's on Amazon. That's all you need to know. It's Demon Protocol. Look it up on Amazon. You'll find it. It's on Amazon Prime, so you can watch it for free if you have Amazon Prime. So yeah, that's everything you need to know about that.
People check it out on Twitter. It's just like @Demon Protocol, right? I think that's why we.
Yeah, @Demon Protocol, and Instagram, just Demon Protocol, and then and there is a Facebook page for it.
Yeah. Be sure to go check this out, folks, because this is an indie film. This is the real people that are working on stuff, and there's a lot of good films out there that people are making that they might have the Hollywood money, but there's a lot of creative people out there making really cool stuff, and you should be out there supporting this type of stuff.
Yeah, there really are some good ones out there, like the one I mentioned earlier, Hell House LLC. I scan Amazon for like new horror all the time, and that's where I found it. And it's a great little movie. And I've since become friends with the guy who made it, because we started chatting on Facebook one day, and he had tons of useful advice. But yeah, I know most movies aren't that great, but there are some gems out there, and you can find them.
That's true. You just gotta sift through maybe a couple bad ones, but even still, like if you watch it with your friends and it's a bad one, then you maybe had some fun with your friends making fun of a bad one, like what's that show back in the day, Mystery Science Theater.
Oh yeah.
I think
and one of the things I love to do. Oh, actually, here, hang on one second. We do have an after credits scene.
Okay, here we go.
Let me turn your sound up for this one. It's really short.
Hey, Sam. Sand is speeding. We are rolling.
11 Charlie, take 2 mark.
That was this guy's things.
This guy?
And it was just the loudest stomach rumble, whatever you want to call it, I'd ever heard in my life.
Okay, thank you for coming on the podcast, Kelly.
Awesome, I really enjoyed it.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at Lost Commentary, on Instagram at Raiders of the Lost Commentary, and like us on Facebook.
I'll be back.